Welcome to the Explainer. Look, if you're studying for an elite exam like the Icon Grade 1, you definitely know the struggle. You stare at these massive lists of advanced vocabulary, repeating them over and over, and then boom, the next day, they're completely gone. Rote memorization is just exhausting, and honestly, it doesn't work for high-level academic English. But today, we're flipping the script. We're diving into an absolute masterclass on the core image approach, or core-image. Instead of just memorizing flat, surface-level dictionary translations, we're going to uncover the living, breathing, visual essence of these words. This is exactly what you need for those tough reading sections and speaking interviews. To do this, we're breaking things down into 5 thematic groups today. We've got history and social foundations, human psychology, business action, nature and science, and finally, instincts and retention. Let's get right into it.
Starting us off with Section 1, History and Social Foundations.
So let's look at the difference between a surface translation and a core image. Take the word medieval. The basic translation you learn is just, the Middle Ages. Knights and castles, right? But for Icon Grade 1, you need that deeper core image. It comes from the Latin medieval for middle and avon for era. It really represents this isolated, totally outdated world that is completely disconnected from modern norms. So if you're writing an essay and you criticize a medieval mindset or medieval practices, you aren't just talking about knights. You're vividly describing something barbaric or shockingly outdated. It's a fantastic collocation to use.
That brings us to our next word, keystone. Think about a physical stone arch. The keystone is that single wedge-shaped rock placed right at the very top center. It's the final piece. If you pull that one stone out, the entire structure literally collapses instantly. That physical visual, that's your core image. Metaphorically, a keystone is the absolutely crucial element of an organization, or maybe a theory. For example, in an interview you could say, mutual trust is the keystone of successful diplomatic negotiations. Without it, the whole deal just falls apart. To really lock these into your long-term memory, we can weave them into a mini narrative. Imagine a majestic historical center of authority, a medieval cathedral. And this massive structure was only possible thanks to brilliant keystone technology. To the local people, the spectacular building felt like a boon, which is a great word meaning a timely blessing or a godsend. And finally, only eligible believers, meaning people who meet very strict, formal criteria, are chosen to enter. So you have medieval, keystone, boon, eligible. Just see that story play out in your mind, and you'll naturally absorb the vocabulary. Moving right along to Section 2, Human Psychology and Behavior.
Let's look at the word wary. On the surface, you might just translate it as careful, but the core image is so much more specific. It's the physical act of stepping back, kind of narrowing your eyes and observing. It's a defensive, half-doubting posture. And interestingly, it shares linguistic roots with the word aware. So when you're wary, you're acutely aware of hidden risks. Think of the collocation wary of, like investors remain wary of market volatility. You aren't just playing it safe, you're actively scanning for the trap. That's a highly practical phrasing for the exam. We have a few more incredible psychological insights here, all driven by visual etymology. Take penchant, an undeniable preference for something. Think of a pendant necklace, literally leaning and dangling heavily toward one side. It's a literal inclination. Then we've got opulent. Now this isn't just rich. It comes from a root meaning wealth that is literally overflowing. It's visually overwhelming. Naturally, someone with opulent wealth might choose to flaunt it. Imagine a flag flapping loudly in the wind, intentionally showing off to say, look at me, and trying to provoke envy. And finally, poignant. This is a beautiful word. It shares a root with puncture or point, so its core image is a sharp, piercing, emotional sadness. It's something that literally stings your heart.
Just feel the weight of this example sentence. The documentary serves as a poignant reminder of the devastating consequences of climate change. See, it doesn't just say the documentary was sad. It says it pierced the viewer's heart. Understanding that core image allows you to wield the word with exactly the right emotional gravity, which examiners absolutely love.
Okay, on to Section 3, business action and effort.
Let's consider the word strive. On paper, it just means to try hard. But its core image is honestly so heroic. To strive is to continuously reach upward while actively fighting against heavy, pushing resistance. It's like walking into a gale force wind. You don't just strive to wake up early. You strive to achieve equality, or you strive for excellence against all odds. It implies serious friction and a relentless fight. And if you're striving in business, you often need to expedite things. I absolutely love the etymology here. Ex means out of, and ped means foot. So the literal core image of expedite is removing the shackles from someone's feet. Once the chains are off, you can run at maximum speed. So when you expedite a shipping process or push through bureaucratic red tape, you are literally unchaining the project so it can just fly forward. Let's lock these business terms in with a crisis resolution story. Imagine your company is in deep, deep trouble. First, you have to strive against heavy resistance to expedite a solution. As part of that, you must thoroughly, meaning the wind blows completely through the room, leaving nothing unchecked, quell the public panic. To quell is like throwing a massive bucket of ice water onto a raging fire to instantly extinguish it. And if you do all of this, you just might be able to salvage the project. The core image of salvage? Pulling precious treasure up from a ship right before it sinks to the bottom of the ocean. Strive, expedite, thoroughly quell, salvage. Run that little movie in your mind.
Next up, Section 4, Nature and Scientific Perspectives.
Here's a simple ecosystem progression to anchor some natural vocabulary. On day 1, you have a microscopic, meaning entirely invisible to the naked eye, larva. But give it a year, and that tiny larva might grow into something like a massive bear, which is a classic omnivore, meaning a creature that consumes a vast variety of both plant and animal foods.
Now, when discussing science in advanced English, especially in those dense icon reading passages, you'll encounter specific processes. 2 critical ones are acidification, the chemical process threatening our marine ecosystems as the oceans absorb too much carbon, and graft. The core image of a graft is seamlessly merging 2 living things into one. That could be a surgeon performing a skin graft on a patient, or a botanist splicing the branch of an apple tree onto a completely different root system. It's about bringing 2 biological elements together permanently.
This brings us to our final group, Section 5, Instincts, Upheaval, and Retention.
Notice the incredible contrast here. On one hand, you have the word bask. The core image is pure tranquility. Imagine a lizard soaking up the morning sun, completely relaxed, just absorbing the warmth. But nature obviously has chaotic instincts too. Contrast basking with a stampede, a sudden deafening mass panic of a herd that crushes everything in its path, or the brutal urge to exterminate. And this doesn't just mean to kill. The core image is to completely wipe a species or a pest entirely out of existence, leaving absolutely nothing behind. Which perfectly brings us to our final and perhaps most important word for today's masterclass, retention. Retention is the ability to securely hold on to something. And why does all of this matter? Because when you connect a high-level English word to its vivid, historical, and visual core image, when you can actually see the keystone in the arch or the unshackled feet of expedite, your memory retention absolutely skyrockets. You aren't just memorizing letters anymore. You are downloading a concept. I wanted to leave you with a final thought and a challenge to actually put these words into practice right now. Think about everything we've covered. Here is today's challenge. How will a recent technological boon, a sudden blessing, impact society's keystone values? Drop your thoughts in the comments using the words we explored today. Try weaving wary or strive into your answer. Remember, active use is the ultimate key to retention. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep building those core images in your mind. Good luck with your studies!